Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Angel Terminators 2, a Hong Kong action movie from 1992 that stars Moon Lee, Yukari Oshima, and Sibelle Hu. I recently reviewed the first Angel Terminators movie on this channel, a nicely entertaining actioner for sure, but I've always considered Angel Terminators 2 to be one of the best, the absolute best, of the Girls with Guns films. So the question is this: does it hold up? We're going to find out. Now, the following plot synopsis was taken from the website thespinningimage.uk. Not a sequel to Angel Terminators, this is a different story, but reteaming the stars of Angel from 1987, also known as Iron Angels, a great movie that's also available on YouTube, by the way. Must watch. This Hong Kong Girls with Guns classic was spawned by it. And Angel Terminators 2 transcends its convoluted origins and emerges a sublime example of the genre. Insanely acrobatic tough cop Madam Wu, played by Sibelle Hu, goes in all guns blazing when jewel thieves hold a whole building hostage. But two survivors manage to escape. Meanwhile, fellow cop Bao struggles to reconnect with his estranged daughter, Bullet, played by Yukari Oshima, a kung fu delinquent just out of jail. She and her scrappy best friend, Chitty, played by Moon Lee, try to stay on the straight and narrow, but explode with righteous fury against the arrogant gang boss named Brother Mad. There's some pretty interesting names in this one. But the first thing I want to emphasize is not the action in this. It's actually the story, the characters, and the conflict, all of which are quite good in this. Now, it's a rarity to see both Moon Lee and Yukari Oshima as protagonists within the same film. They're usually attempting to kill each other, and they've done many collabs over the years. But that's not the case here. They're not at each other's necks. They're BFFs with a nice dynamic in terms of their personalities. You know, Moon is the cute girl that we love to see kick butt, and Oshima here is, freshly released from prison. She has an attitude problem. So they have two very different personalities. But there's plenty of scenes with these girls going out and getting into trouble due to Oshima's bad temper. And if you're a fan of these actresses, it's a real treat to see them interact this way, because it doesn't happen that often in their careers. Now, there's an effective dramatic angle to this as well. Yukari's character is really trying to be legit, but she's got an attitude problem, she makes a few bad decisions, and she also has some bad luck because her prior ties to the triads basically means that criminals just find their way into her vicinity and she gets into trouble. So she keeps getting roped into dangerous situations. And it's effectively dramatic, you know what I mean, for a character arc, especially during the final half hour when our protagonists are in a situation that's way above their heads. It becomes legitimately intense. And then, sometimes with these Girls with Guns flicks, and I've said this before, sometimes we just watch them for the action, and the plot is just whatever. Who cares about the plot? Just give me a ton of action, just give me a bad guy, and I'm good. Angel Terminators 2 is like the exception to that mindset. The non-action stuff is actually good, which is one of the reasons why this is, up there with the best. Now, of course, the action itself delivers. The opening minutes feature a police strike and a hostage situation, and there's some heavy firepower, plenty of restaurant destruction. The opening shootout occurs so quickly that the opening credits have not yet finished during the scene. It's like, this is Hong Kong action, folks. Like, we're not even going to wait for the opening credits to finish. Here's an action scene for you. You know what I mean? I always laugh when I watch the beginning of this movie. Just some poor editors trying to get the credits in during this freaking battle. And then we immediately after that get a really cool gymnasium sparring sequence. It's one of my favorites in Moon Lee's career. Very well choreographed fight, and she makes some cute faces along the way, which is like, it's a bonus. We get some other scuffles, hand-to-hand slugfests. I mean, it's basically Moon and Yukari teaming up at various points to fight off goons and people they get into conflicts with, some of whom are not directly related to the main villain as well. But, and Sibelle Hu is also kind of, I guess, going toe-to-toe with the main baddie for a while, and eventually these plot lines converge. one thing I liked about this is that the main bad guy, what's his name, Brother Mad, he shows up pretty early, and you see him pretty consistently throughout the film, which I like. It kind of sets up the bad guy where you really don't like him, and you want to see him get taken down because you've seen him so many times throughout the film. Like, I recently reviewed those Inspector Wears Skirts movies on this channel, and that was one of the big consistent flaws that I found in those, is that the main villain would just like come out of nowhere during the last 15 minutes of the movie. But that's not the case here, so I like this better. There's a highlight action set piece in a shopping mall, which is cool. There's actually a slow motion assassination sequence, which sometimes you don't get a lot of slow motion in these movies, which we kind of prefer it that way, I think, but this scene's a good scene. It's a good slow motion event, I guess you could call it, and it's pretty memorable. And then all of this leads to probably one of the best finales in any of these girls' careers as actresses. And, the action is truly elevated by the drama that precedes it, and the best fights and shootouts are saved for the big finale. So it finishes strong. So I would say if you have any interest in this subgenre of Hong Kong action movie, I mean, you need to watch Angel Terminators 2. I strongly recommend it. It's still, to this day, one of my favorites. If I were to rank like lists for all these actresses or just Hong Kong action flicks in general, I really like this one. It does make a good double feature with the first Angel Terminators movie, even though you could watch them in any order. They're separate stories. But it's a good doubleheader for an evening of fun and entertainment. Both films are available streaming on YouTube. I'll provide a link in the description box below. I would love to see Blu-ray releases for these, but who knows? We'll just have to hope. And as always, I'll see you next time.